Good morning, everyone, and a warm welcome to this first Access to Innovation talk after the summer break. Today, we are fortunate to be in the company of Iver Høj Nielsen, who is head of the P4G Activities, and who will explain us the new funding opportunities that exist under the P4G program. So I believe that this is a good opportunity for those of you who are company members or NGO members who are in partnership with companies to explore these funding opportunities that exist to identify and accelerate new innovations for markets in the global south. So Iver, thank you for helping us with this, and we look forward to hearing you clarify these opportunities. As for the format of today's session, we will start with a 20 to 25-minute presentation from Iver, followed by 20 minutes where you can ask questions. For questions, please raise your digital hand, post the questions in the chat. I should also say that we are recording this session, which will be available for streaming on our website, so you can always go in and listen to the session there. I think that is it from my side, so I will hand over the screen to you, Iver, and please go ahead.
Thank you.
Sorry, everybody please mute so that we don't have these disturbing sounds. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Thomas. My name is Iver Høj Nielsen. As Thomas said, I'm head of P4G Activities at State of Green in Denmark. I will just share the screen. Now you've seen how I look, and so I'll go very fast to the screen. It's much better. So yeah. Yes. What I want to do today is to tell a little about the P4G initiative and also the funding potential that is there for companies in developing countries. Just a second. I'm not quite sure how I can. Sorry about that. Okay, the agenda today, I just want to start a little slowly here and then give an overview of P4G in phase 2. We've come through phase 1 now and going into a new phase. And very briefly go through the application criteria and the process that will go on. And I'm sure that will lead to many questions afterwards, and I will try to answer them as best I can. First of all, P4G started out in 2018 in a 5-year period until the end of 2022. In that period, 75 partnerships were supported in the partner countries, in the developing countries, and there was quite a lot of values that created. P4G is an initiative that originally was started by Denmark and funded by Denmark and Danish development aid back in 2018. Now, when we go into phase 2, there are 9 partner countries. In Asia, it's South Korea, it's Indonesia, and it's Vietnam. In Africa, it's Ethiopia, Kenya, and South Africa, and in Latin America, it's Colombia. Apart from that, there are 2 countries in Europe, Denmark and the Netherlands. this initiative is funded by Denmark, the Netherlands, and South Korea, with Denmark paying the major amount of the funding money. What we look into is to support partnerships and businesses in the 6 developing countries, which you can see on the map here. We focus on 3 sectors: food, energy, and water. And there are some more specific things about these 3 sectors. We talk about food loss and waste. We talk about climate smart agriculture, renewable energy, zero emission transportation, and water resilience. So this is the main frames that P4G works around. You could say that P4G in many ways looks like have similarities to the Danish Green Business Partnership Program, but there are also some differences. This initiative P4G, and I should just say that P4G means Partnering for Green Growth and the Global Goals 2030. And the setup is more international than the Danish Green Business Partnerships. It's headed from an office in Washington by the World Resources Institute with national platforms in all the member countries. Denmark is one of these member countries, and State of Green is the national platform in Denmark, and that's where I work. State of Green is a public-private partnership with 4 ministries and 3 business organizations as owners. And we've taken on the role as a national platform in Denmark because we have these connections both to government and to the business environment in Denmark. And in that way, we hope that we can help bring on Danish technologies and Danish experience into these partnerships in the developing countries and support partnerships that way and support them to become successful. What we say is that we provide grant funding and technical assistance to early stage business to help them to become investment ready and support climate transition in food, water, and energy. And the funding model is that it's a challenge fund where you apply for funding, and then there will be looked into what is this idea and what is the value in this. Some partnerships will get support and some will not be supported. That is a challenge fund. That's how that works. And the grants that are given are up to $350,000, and there's you have to supply 30% by your own means to get this support. So this is how the model works, and I can go a little further into this a little later. So what the purpose of this is to help enable climate businesses in these countries to become investment ready. And the second thing is to improve the enabling systems in country to help business investments and growth of private businesses. But the support to the partnerships is not going to the business, it's going to the partnership. And the partnership is seen as at least an civil society organization which is active in the country, but it could be civil society organizations also from Denmark, but active in the countries. It could actually be Access to Innovation. It could be Confederation of Danish Industry, or it could be a Danish civil society organization like Dan Church 8 or similar organizations. But they must be active and strong on ground in the receiving countries. But by supporting this partnership, we hope that we can help the business to become stronger and be attractive for funding from other investors. So we hope that this initiative, by going into both the private sector and the public sector, can help strengthen the environment around the business and help it over the barrier and become a sound and economically sound business that can move forward for years to come. Very short on this, just a second. Yeah, P4G has this hub secretariat you can see in blue in the middle, where we work out of Washington, where the hub headquarters is, but they are located with very strongly in the partner countries, with liaison officers supporting both the partnerships, the applicants, and the national platforms in each country. And they do that also with investments management, where they can support, give good advice, etc., etc. Each country has a national platform which both have a representative from the national government, ministries, and from the private sector, typically a business organization in the country. And in that country, the donor countries, especially the Netherlands and Denmark, will support the national platforms through their embassies in the countries, and support them and give them strength to see the potential in this model. The partnerships at least have two partners. One of them is the administrative partner that is not allowed to be a business partner. It must be a not-for-profit organization, as I said before, civil society organization or a business organization. And if a grant is given to the partnership, the receiving part will be the NGO or the civil society organization, as it's getting called now. They make a budget and see what are the needs for the business partner, which is the other, at least, partner that there is in this partnership. And the business partner must be active in the country already, be at an early stage, working within these climate areas, but is active and has an active business going on at an early stage, but also with an attractive setup and a business plan that is attractive. So P4G will find it interesting to go in and support it, and can see the potential in developing and supporting this business moving forward. But it's a common discussion. Can P4G support the business? And no, P4G cannot support the business directly, but through the partnership. And the NGO is generally strong in the communities and in the ecosystem in the countries, and can in that way help the business develop and move forward. And when the grant is given to the NGO, they make this budget, and some of the expenses in the company, it could be travel, can also be a part of the funding. But we've often been asked, can the partnership, can P4G support, for instance, water pumps from Grundfos? No, we cannot, but we can support a company and bring them to the country to do some of the work that is done there, and also in-kind a contribution with the salaries connected to the activity. So, but this is very much focused on micro and small and medium-sized enterprises that are working in the countries. For this mainly Danish audience, just to say that it's important that you are registered in the country if you apply for funding. This is not for Danish companies in Denmark. It's for companies that are registered in the country, but that can be Danish companies that are registered in the country. But it's also possible to have partnerships with more partners than these two. You can also have partnerships where you supply technologies to this, or you can be off-takers of the products from these partnerships. So there are lots of opportunities in this, and to see that even though it might seem a little narrow in the way that it's formulated here, there are opportunities that Danish companies can go into these partnerships in other ways as well. And I will be helpful and take up the discussions if you have any ideas, or if you have any follow-up questions on this. So the idea is also that when you do this, it's something that fits into what the country needs, because this is development money that are supplied here, and the development money is supposed to help the country get up to another economic level, and here it's about also supporting the strategies of the country, ministries, etc., but also to create, of course, to create jobs and local economy in the countries. So the supplement of other partners can also be that there is support from a governmental side or from local municipalities or others. But these two, the NGO partner and the early stage business partner, is a key in the partnership and the key essence in the partnership. Very much just to wrap up the request for a business partner. The business partner must be in the seed or post-seed stage, but also have a proven technology. And it's not for experiments with technologies. It's a proven technology, but it's also something where you can see that it's not in use in the country, or there's an ambition in this partnership that they are moving in new directions and show that they can do something that has not been done before and can be an inspiration for others as well. As I said before, registration in the country is of implementation is important. You can have the intention of registering, but first of all, I think it's valuable to be registered already. and you must have a business plan that is clear, and also, of course, as a clever team to execute. So there's expertise and commercial expertise in the partnership. So it's something that is trustworthy, and where P4G can see that it's worth going in and supporting this, because interesting potential and professional people to execute. So and the innovative and additional part with products, services, or processes is interesting, going new ways. Here we talk also about new financial models, new business models, but also there's a lot of talk right now about IoT, or artificial intelligence, going into this to help setting new standards in this country for green technologies. And the business must be, said that before, small or micro enterprises. Not too many people at the moment, but with a potential to become bigger and stronger. The NGO, or the civil society organization, as it's more and more called now, is the administrative partner. And they must be registered in country. So if, for instance, access to innovation will go into this and be applied to be an administrative partner, which of course I hope they will, they must be registered in the country, one of these partner countries, and where the application is heading, they must be in that country and registered there. They will be doing the budgets and recipient of the grant funding, and make the budget that will be recognized and by the P4G hub in Washington. What they do is that they can do this as a capacity building and strengthen the local community through this, and set up all these activities that many of these organizations do in the country, and do a valuable job in the country, and use P4G to support this. So there are lots of opportunities for the civil society organizations to go into this as well. As I said before, it's possible to have other partners in the partnership. You can have commercial partners that help in many ways. Corporate partners, both as suppliers of technologies or as off-takers. And then you can work together with governments and associations of other parts. So it could be business organizations in the country. They can apply themselves, but they can also be just normal partners in the partnerships. Also, you can see that we've had partnerships where business organizations are going into this and seeing this partnership is interesting. Other partners in our association could be interested in this, and if this partnership succeeds, we can see that it can be used in other partnerships or in other businesses as well. But an important purpose of this is to help businesses to become business viable and attractive for external investors after the funding period from P4G. In the middle of the Danish summer holiday, the call for partnerships in 2023 opened. It was a little inconvenient for us in Denmark, but that's the way it is. There's some eligibility criteria for the partnerships or the applicants. And I've just been through these, and I think that I will send out this eligibility criteria for the partnerships and the presentation to you, Thomas, so you can share it with your community. But they must have these early stage climate partners and an NGO. They must have both experience and a track record, so it's not some people flying in with a wild idea. There must be some strength and basis in the partnership to get this support. They must work into these sectors that we talked about before, agriculture and energy and water, and in the partner countries, the developing partner countries. And there must be a business plan where you can see that there's investability in this partnership at the other side of the investment or the funding period of P4G. And there must be an understanding of which country and what are the rules of this country, and where does this country want to move, and the policy in the country. There must be an additionality that this partnership is actually doing something that has not been seen in the country before. So it can be a business solution, or it can be a funding method or a financing method that you haven't seen before. And there must, of course, also be an impact in the country on climate, economic growth, poverty reduction, gender, and development impact. Some of these impacts are very SDG-minded, where you talk also about gender and development impact. So, but I think that is what you see in programs like P4G, and you definitely also see it in the Danish Green Business Partnership Program. And of course, there must be some where are we heading with this? What is it that we want to do? And there must be realistic budgets around this. The business conduct, you must work and do proper business, where you don't do things that it's the normal SDG way of looking this as well. And of course, you have to have a due diligence of this and live up to all this. This is, I think, when you do business, many of these things are very logical, but when you put up 10 points, it looks very, it's a lot. But on the other hand, I think many of these are very logical. And if you want to receive funding and money from somebody else, you have to be able to answer these questions as well. The application process, there's 9 phases of this. There are some talks at the beginning. Is this a partnership that is ready and interesting for P4G? An interview. Then you submit a concept note, a short concept note. You will find the concept note on the P4G's website, p4gpartnerships.org. P4G will screen the applications and look at the eligibility Does it really live up to the standards that we want? And if yes, then it moves forward to a shortlist where it will be looked at with the scores in with technology, etc. Is it attractive, and how does it compare with the other applicants? And then the partnerships will be shortlisted. The successful partnerships will be shortlisted, and then asked to make a full proposal, which is built on the concept note from the beginning, but will be stretched a little, and more details will be put into it. And then there will be a pitch and evaluation of the partnership for the granting committee. And then the granting committee will make the final funding decision. And then there will be contract negotiations, and finally the money will be awarded, and congratulations when you get that far. It's a process that is lined up in this way. The call for applications in the middle of summer. There's a very short deadline now, and I know it's a short deadline, and I'm really sorry about that, but it's a global initiative, so that's the way it works. And P4G phase 2 was started on 1st of July, and that is why the phase is so short. But it's just to say that if you think that deadline is totally unreasonable, and I'm sure that some of you would think that, there's a 2024 application process that will start immediately after September 8th. So when you go into this and find out, is this something that's relevant for you, then you can contact me or contact the P4G, the hub, and we can have discussions about this concept note and the idea that you have. And then the process will continue, and the next application deadline will be sometime in spring 2024. And that is, I think, a realistic time frame also for newcomers to look into. So just to say that. But very short, this process will go on after the deadline. The applications will be looked at in October, and the whole process that I talked about before will go on throughout autumn and winter, and in December the selected partnerships will be notified, and the grant negotiations will begin, and the public announcements will be in spring 2024 of the 2023 application process. So I think that is the frame of this, and just very short, the hub has shown 3 examples of this. I think the Transforming Africa Bamboo is what is a classic small, medium-sized company. It's a Dutch company that is operating in Ethiopia, and it's about production of building materials from sustainably produced bamboo. They have received funding, and they adapt to the national bamboo policies in the country, and have off-takers in the Netherlands that take off these building materials that are very strong and help in the building industry, and have off-takers, and some of the do-it-yourself businesses in the Netherlands take off these products and have them on the shelves in the company, in their shops. And they have, after this, an impact investment of $12 million, and are creating new jobs. It's anticipated that it's about 125 jobs that they will create. But businesses are very different, and you know where your strengths and your interests are. They can be within these sectors. One of the partnerships that we in Denmark have supported has been a partnership that Dan Church 8 have set up about biscuits in Ethiopia. They've done that together with Novozymes and Arla Foods Ingredients and other partners. Also, I think some of the partners in Actions to Innovation, and it's about creating healthy biscuits for the poor people in Ethiopia that otherwise will get very bad. Well, they will will have too little nutrition and will have damages to their brains if they don't get more proteins. And these biscuits are baked by a local bakery, and they are not in the market yet, but they are getting closer and closer. So this process has started also, and that's one of the partnerships that we from Danish side have put into the global P4G program. Of the 75 partnerships that we talked about at the beginning, I told about at the beginning, 17 of them have had Danish partners one way or the other. The new P4G is focusing a little more about activities in the countries. So what we try to do from Danish side, from my side, is to help Danish partners into some of these partnerships in the countries, set up discussions with local partners, see what we can do locally, and build bridge to my national platform partners in the countries, or to business organizations in the countries, or to some of the organizations or businesses that are active in the countries. It can be done in many, many different ways, but I think that you have to look at this from your own perspective and see is there some of these things that could work for us, and then we can take the discussions. And I'm really glad if that's possible, and if you want that. So as I said before, I hope, Thomas, that you will share this presentation. I'll send it to you. You can learn more about P4G at the P4Gpartnerships.org website, where you also can find the application concept note to send in. If you want further information, I'm at your disposal and working at State of Green. We are based at Industriens Hus in the middle of Copenhagen. And if you contact me on my email address or phone me, I'll be glad to have discussions and give you good advice. I think that is what I want to say, and thank you for your patience. I think it was perhaps a little more than I was supposed to talk, Thomas, but I'm sorry about that.
No problem. This is complicated things, but thank you, Iver, for giving us this overview. I'm sure this is relevant for many of our members. So please, if you have a question, we have time for a few questions. Raise your digital hand or just simply interrupt me, and then you have the opportunity to ask these questions. In the meantime, while you're thinking about your question, I have a question. So one question that I have, if let's say that the project is to mature a B2B partnership between a Danish company and an East African company, for example. Can that be kind of the frame for a project?
You need an administrative partner, but I think that this is not set up for the business directly. We hope to create business this way, but it is development money, and development money do not go directly to businesses. So if you want to receive money, there must be a perspective for the society more than just business to business.
Okay.
But business to business can of course be a part of this, but you need a civil society organization or an NGO to be part of this as well. And the NGO can be a business organization as well, but it must be something that is have some kind of originality that you haven't seen before. So you could business to business can be many different things, but it's important that you say this is actually showing new ways of creating green business in the country that create jobs, is good for the environment and the climate, etc., etc. But it's important that you have an active active administrative partner, which is not-for-profit organization, part of this.
Okay, thank you. There's a question from Lisbeth Sacco. Lisbeth.
Just a second. Yeah. I'm here. I'm just trying
we can hear you now. Okay.
We can hear you.
Oh, sorry. What happened now?
We can see you and we can hear you.
You can see and hear you.
Oh, you can see me as well. Okay. Something messed up on my screen here, but that's fine. Yeah. So, well, first of all, a comment. I understand the issue about that you have to sort of direct the money through an NGO. But when the purpose is to build businesses and build investment readiness, I find it a little bit strange that the capacity for business development and investor readiness should be with an NGO. Maybe with access to innovation being the exception, because they're very business oriented, they're business people. But in general, most NGOs would also, by an investor, being an investor myself, not be seen as the optimal sort of way of doing investor readiness. So my question is a little bit, so when you do the budget, and it's clear that all the money goes directly into the NGO, but can a business partners also be on that budget so that the NGO pays something to the business partner? Because it's difficult for me to see how most NGOs can do this technical assistance work on investor readiness. I think if I needed to become more investor ready, I would go to Open Capital, which is a commercial company, and ask them for their help. But yeah, so a comment and a question.
Oh, you're muted. Sorry, Iver, you're muted. Iver, sorry, you're muted.
I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
Always forget that. It's very relevant questions, Lisbeth, and it's questions that we've had before, and I'm sure that we will have the questions again. But the idea with P4G, first of all, this is development aid, and you don't pay development aid directly to businesses. But what you've seen so far, and what you see, is that there is sometimes a gap where where investors are not ready to go into these investments because the business is not far enough, and because it's far enough, the risk is too big, and who's going to take the risk in the first phase? And the idea of this is to help the business through the strong support from the enabling environment around this as well. And that's where the NGO, and see the NGO as in the broad perspective. It can be business organizations, it could be access to innovation. But what we've seen is that the NGO sometimes and often also have a strong foundation in local communities around the country. And that is why we see that the support of the NGO can actually be very helpful also to help the business get up on a level where it's getting interested for others. But it's not when the investment readiness is there, then it's not the partnership that will get the funding from external investors. But we hope that this can help them get over that gap until the business, the real investors find this attractive and strengthen the business through this cooperation between the partnership and the business. Sorry, between the NGO and the business. And the budget, there's definitely also a role for the business in the budget, and that is what there will be negotiations on how is the budget cut in the end, and how do you do that? That will come up, but the business is of course also a partner of the budget. But you cannot give support to a company directly. You cannot give support to Grundfos pumps in that. There must be somebody in the business that pay for that. And there's a co-financing here of 30%, and that could be many things, but the co-financing must come from the partnership, somewhere in the partnership, or from external investors that are already willing to do that, or could be a foundation, or I don't know. But you have to find 30% to put into this. So if you get $100,000 on this, then you have to pay to bring on $30,000 from your side as well.
Okay, yeah, it's difficult really to see what's really in it for the business, but yeah, who we are trying to help. But yeah, and I'm not quite sure I understand exactly why it cannot go to commercial partners, because most of the governments have calls that also go to commercial partners.
Yeah, but you need more investments, and this is a way of trying to do this. And there are some similarities here to the Danish Green Business Partnerships. Also the co-financing, and you're not paying to the business directly, because you can't do that. So there are some similarities, and this is a classic way, and the way that also Danish development policy is written. So you can't do.
Okay, yeah, not much to do about that. But thank you very much.
Okay,
yeah.
thank you. We want to try to stick on time, but I'll allow to go 5 minutes over time. And Peter, there's a question from you.
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you very much. And thank you for a very interesting presentation. I was quite intrigued to see that it was saying MSMEs in your presentation. And I'm curious to know to which extent the micro enterprises and the informal sector are the target for those programs, and if they to some extent are also integrated in the business models for the production, or only as the target for the consumption of the products.
Well, we want to support also the micro part, But I think that it depends on definition. But I think that it must be a registered company. So it's not the informal sector as I see the informal sector as something that is not registered. I don't know if you have another interpretation of that term, but it must be a registered company. So it must be part of the national economy in that way.
Yeah, I'm seeing that there's a lot of small farmers who are benefiting from some of the solar products and agricultural interventions, etc.
Yeah.
And so my question really is, how big is the focus on the inclusion, the economic inclusion of the informal sector as part of the development outcome of these? That's the one side, and the other side is, when you're producing solar equipment, are you also consciously looking at how to integrate as part of the production line some of these micro enterprises, not as partners, but as the suppliers, subset of the production? So there's two sides to my question. I'm hoping it is more clear now.
Well, some of this has to be, remains to be seen, because this is a new phase of the program. But the program wants to get out in areas. If you are in areas where you don't have electricity, it's obvious that it could be interesting to support programs that get out into these areas with off-grid solutions, so you can help out in some of these areas. But I think that if there's a main focus here, it is to help these businesses to be investment ready and get external funding. Then what is the business model? It is to help local communities. It's to help local society and growth. Also in areas where you could say it's more or less informal sector, but the focus is to help this business entity to become investment ready, so they can work without grants from Denmark or other places, and get a sound business out of it to create jobs and help the formal sector become stronger, and hopefully also integrate some of the informal sector along the way. But it's a long journey to get everybody on board there. I know that.
Excellent.
Okay,
let's hope we get some missing middle.
Thank you for that question. I'll allow one last question from Florence, and then we have to stop. Please,
Yes,
Florence, go ahead.
Yes, thank you for allowing me to take the floor. And yes, I'll just put my yes. Thank you. Actually, I'm very much in light of what Lisbeth said, so I'll be very brief because I have a similar question to that. So I was very much wondering why the receiving partner is the NGO. Is it because of the monitoring and the evaluation of the grant? Because I'm trying to figure out or understand how much involved would the NGO be on the business level in order to sort of manage the investment and provide the business advice.
Oh, you need to unmute.
Was that to me?
No, I was.
Okay.
Eva, we cannot hear, Eva, what you are saying.
Thank you.
It's at the left.
Hear me now?
Yes, we can hear now. Perfect.
Sorry, it was the wrong button. I tried to get more sound on. But Florence, I heard you anyway. But I think that if you look at the partnership, you as a business go into a partnership with some kind of NGO, because you can see you don't go into this partnership because you want funding. You go into this partnership because you can see that there's an advantage, because you can strengthen your the community around the business that you want to that you're running. So when you have this partnership with this active partnership where you're working together, if you get the funding, this partnership will find out how do we use the funding that we get. You have to show it's not just that they put all the money into their pocket. There must be a realistic budget that this funding is helping the business grow. So I think that the business partner in this partnership will also have a say, because I hope that this partnership will talk to each other and find out how do we spend the money that we've or the funding that we've received from P4G in the best way to strengthen the overall purpose of this, to get a sound business and help the business get to a level where we can get funding from somewhere else, IFU or other investors, private investors, whatever. But get to a level where you have a business that is really interesting for investors to go into and help you grow to even more levels, if that's possible. That must be the ambition, and that is the way we look at it. So it's not just that we send all the money to Dan Church Aid and then they put all the money into their pocket. It's for the partnership to grow, and the partners in the partnership have a say on that, all of them.
Okay. Thank you very much for your questions, and Iver, thank you very much for taking the time to explain these opportunities. I hope that we, by this year or at least next year, that we can send a lot of interesting applications in your direction. We'll do the most we can here at Access to Innovation to support these projects.
Yes, and just one last word from me as well. Thank you, Thomas, for this opportunity. And I hope to have strong links to the Access to Innovation community in the years to come. So please contact me if you have any questions. The worst thing you can get from me is that I don't think it's relevant in a P4G context, but I will be able to discuss some of the ideas that you have and help you in the process if it's possible.
Okay, so perfect. Thank you. We look forward to continuing this dialogue. So thank you very much, Iver.